Hello, this is Myri Lane from the Buying Space channel. Today I'm doing something new. I'm doing a book review. I haven't read this entire book. It's not really meant to be read as a complete read-through, although you could. Experiencing His Presence by Juanita Bynum. And in this book, she talks about how to pray. I was an atheist for 41 years. I didn't really know how to have a relationship with God. I didn't know how to pray. And in this book, she compares the structure and the contents of the temple, the Israeli temple. And she talks about the outer court of the temple being like the Christians, people who are Christians that pray, but they're kind of outside the holy sanctum and they're not really close to God and they don't really know how to pray. And there is a proper way to pray. I've read some of it in the Bible readings I've done. I know one verse I read that said that you're not to pray in public and you're not to pray like a hypocrite that goes on and in your prayer. That God knows what you want when you are praying. He knows the entire situation. So in this book, I want to read a selection because when I was in Flipping Hope yesterday, people brought up what was in the tabernacle and what was in the Ark of the Covenant. And in her very last section, she talks about what the Ark of the Covenant is. Now, each of these days is like a daily devotional. And in the previous chapters, she talks about, the gate or the doorway to the temple, the gatekeeper. She talks about the garments the priests wear. She talks about the candlesticks and keeping the oil lit and the thrashing floor and different components of the tabernacle. Her next book is actually called, one of the sections she has in here called the threshing floor. But I'm going to read what she says on page 103 of this daily devotional book. The Ark of the Covenant. As with all the other elements of the tabernacle and its furniture, God gave specific instructions to Moses for the construction and contents of the Ark of the Covenant. We read about it in Exodus chapters 16 and 25 and Numbers chapter 17. The ark was overlaid with gold on inside and outside, which represented the perfect union of God and man. These elements were housed in the ark. The testimonial tablets, which represent the perfected word in your life. Aaron's rod that budded, which is a sign against rebellion to God-given authority. And the omer of manna, which represents supernatural provision. Because these three elements were maintained inside the ark, it housed the glory of God. Without them, the ark became just another empty box. We must understand that in order for us to walk in the perfected power of God, these same elements must be housed in the ark of our hearts. The Word must be manifested in our everyday lives. The obedience, not rebellion, must characterize our lives. And we must trust God, not man, for everything we need. And then the most important part of the above section is by itself here, and it is italicized. And then a Bible verse, or several Bible verses together sometimes, is here at the bottom. And each page is laid out like that. And there's a little blurb over here from what this says. It's like the summarizing sentence of this section. The repeated italicized section and the Bible verse to help you retain the concepts of the three elements were in the Ark of the Covenant, so they need to be in the Ark of your house. And then every day the devotional has a different concept that is formatted this way. And the verse that is at the bottom, they shall make an ark of acacia wood, 2.5 cubits long, 1.5 cubits wide, and 1.5 cubits high. You shall overlay the ark with pure gold inside and out, and make a gold crown, a rim or border around its top. And you shall put inside the ark the testimony, or the commandments, which I gave you. That's Exodus 25, verses 10 and 11 and 16. So I really enjoyed this book, and it's really assisted me in how I'm thinking about how I pray and how my relationship with God can be improved, and how it can be, how I can have a routine with it and make it part of my daily life and not just randomly pray. Of course, I still randomly pray when something comes across my heart. I have a prayer box that I have names on of people that I pray for, and sometimes during the day, like if I'm on Facebook, or someone says in a live that they're having they need prayer, I will pray for them right then and there. And sometimes those will go in my prayer box if I'm led to do that, and they'll be part of my daily prayer. So I do have a routine, and I have tools to help remind me to follow up with people. It's one thing to randomly pray when you see someone needs prayer, but it's quite more delightful to go back and see, oh, that person did recover from the surgery, and this God worked in their life, to see the result of what happened after their situation, how God worked it out. God really does work in mysterious ways. But I've really enjoyed this book. I recommend it to anyone like myself that needed a little guidance and ideas on how to framework your prayer and how to think about it. And I really enjoyed it because before I became an atheist, I had been a junior church leader, and I had taught a lesson with felt pieces about the structure of the temple and why different things were put in there. So I really related to this book because I was familiar with the temple from my early childhood. Have a blessed day, everyone.